thought you were coming up to the feast this weekend. Last week.
I was supposed to, man. I got caught up doing things down here, you know.
Yeah, no, I understand that. I understand.
How was it?
It was great. I haven't been to a feast in over 20 years. You know, I was away all those years and seen everybody in the neighborhood, and I felt like the old Bobby again. It felt good, you know.
Yeah, they're having one where I live soon. I'm gonna go to that one.
Yeah, they're nice. I like the festivals.
Yeah, I'll come up there again, man. We'll hang out.
It was good to be back in my old neighborhood that I used to run in the North End, you know.
Yeah.
I'll never be a boss again, but it still felt good meeting everybody again and talking with everybody. But it was nice. It was really nice.
Yeah, you get a lot of good feedback from people, I've noticed.
Well, you know, really nobody has too much to say about me. You know, some guys try to call me a rat, but then they seen, you know, I went to trial twice to save my life, you know. Yeah. They can say whatever they want about me. I really don't care, but I get all positive feedback from people because I'm positive. I don't get involved with the nonsense with everybody. I don't listen to people and worry about what they have to say because you're always going to have critics, you know.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
For the most part, I mean, I got great followers. They're really good viewers. They're really good people.
Reason for you to go to Philly? Why wouldn't you go to New York? And because I heard rumors that you were supposed to be with the Gambinos.
Well, I'll tell you the story. If you want to hear it, I'll tell you the story. A good friend of mine, Jerry Cormet, he's the Frenchman in Rhode Island. Very well-known guy years ago. Dangerous guy. He had a friend, Giggsy, that was associated with the Gambinos. And Angelo Emilio was a captain with the Gambinos, but he was in prison. So Giggsy set up a meeting and went to talk to Peter Gotti. And Peter told him, he says, tell Bobby that I can't help him up there because, you know, commission rules, there's already a family up there. In the meantime, a good friend of mine, Frank Ross, I heard he just passed away. Bad guy, he did something for me years ago. And Frankie was in prison with Ralph Natali, who ended up becoming the boss of the family. Well, Joey was the boss, but he was Joey's front guy, Molino's front guy in Philly. So I went down and met Ralphie. I met Ralphie a few times. Then I met George Borghese. He was a capo in the family. And from there, I went and met Joey. And, you know, we just all got along good together. You got to remember, Philly was just coming off a war, and we were just coming off a war in Boston. So we had a lot of common at the time, you know. And, you know, of course, we had to go through the procedures. They checked me out. I got proposed in the family. And Joey was very strict with that. You know, I had to wait certain times of being proposed, then being made, then becoming a captain. You know, it didn't happen overnight, you know. So we went through those procedures, and I became a May guy in the family. And then after I became made, you know, they were introducing me as capo. And right after that, we came up to Boston. There were 2 separate meetings and made all my guys. And my guys were made up in Boston. So that's how we put my crew together.
So there's some reports that people are saying that that you bought your button. Some people are saying 50,000. Some people are saying 100,000.
I know. I think it's funny, Bo. I don't know how people actually think that you could go out of nowhere, from nowhere, you know, and buy a button from somebody. I mean, it's nonsense. What happened? I'll tell you a story. I was already proposed, and the meeting was happening anytime. And I stood at the hotel at Parker Ave next to Veterans Stadium. There's a hotel over there. I'm sure it's still there. I think it was a Holiday Inn. I'm not sure. So Joey calls me. He said, I'm coming by with someone. Could you meet me downstairs? So I went down, and he was with the kid, Steven Snitch. Great kid. Really nice kid. You know, he was always around us. He grew up with Joey and all the guys. And I know Steven was involved in developing. And Joey I had an interest in that. I used to do that. You know, me and Joey used to talk. And so he brought Snitch to me. He said, listen, Bobby, listen to what he has to say. Maybe you might want to get involved with you know, what he's doing. He wants to pick up some more. You know, in Philly, they have all row houses. They're all townhouses. You know,
Yeah.
he said he wants to pick up a few more. He wants to start expanding, but he needs more capital. So I talked to Stitch about it, you know, and I was thinking about it. And you know, they asked for 100,000. Not they, Snitch did. Joey really had nothing to do with it. But like I said, he's a childhood friend. So I came back up to Boston and I grabbed Didi. Didi was a main guy in the Patriarca family, but we were partners at some things. I says, Didi, what do you think? Should we send 100 down there? You know, I think it might be a good idea because I really wanted a house down there, a townhouse myself in South Philly. You know, I figured if I gave them the money to Snitch, and like I said, I don't know if the other guys were involved. I don't think so, the way they were talking, but I could grab one of the row houses for myself, you know.
Yeah.
I talked to Didi about it. Didi says, you know, Bobby, we need the capital up here. Like, you know, we got to leave the money up here. So I said, you know something, you're right. I thought about it, and I decided not to do the deal. And I called Snitch down in Philly, and I told him to come up to Boston. So to help him out, I think it was 15,000. I put it in a paper bag. He came up, let him meet some people, and I gave him the 15,000. I said, I know you're stuck. Here's 15 to get you started. And I send him back to Philly the same day. He gets on the train, goes back down to Philly. Then, I don't know, like a week or two later, Georgie came up. I says, you know what? Tell them I'm not interested. I'm not going to get involved. But Didi took the story out the street that they were asking me for 100,000 to get made. So I grabbed you and said, what are you talking about, Paul? I talked the whole deal with you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were just guys in Boston that were mad that I made this move to Philly. And they were trying to put me down any way they could. They had no other way, you know? So that rumor got out. It was nonsense, you know, and that's about it with that rumor. I don't know where they come up with 50,000. They come up with 100,000. Believe me, I didn't need the button that bad. And Joey would have never took money to make me, believe me. Joey's a monster.
So have you, since you've been around these guys, have you heard of people paying for their button?
Not in the Philly mob, no. I never heard that, but I heard it up in Boston, and I heard, you know, maybe several years ago, I heard about a guy that paid 40,000 up here to get a button. You know, so I don't know how true it is, so I'm not going to mention names, but you know, the guy's got money. He had money at the time. He's got businesses. You know, I don't know why people would want to buy a button and get in that life if you're already successful. You know, I just don't understand it.
Yeah,
I had reason. Yeah.
Yeah, the button would help you, like move you along, but it would kind of hamper you if you had a lot of money too. Like,
yeah, why would you do that?
On your back.
My reason was I got a cocaine business that's worth millions of dollars. I got about $1 million on the street. You know, I want to get my crew made and set my family up. That's why I went down to Philly, or I would have went with the Gambinos if Peter had taken me. You know, because what happens in this life, and you can see by all these guys trolling and all this bullshit on here, is that you could be a killer, the worst guy in the world. If you're not a made guy, you're not one of them. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I was a bad guy on the street, and I did want that at the time, you know, and I went and got it. But I got it because I deserved it. I made my bones long before I went to Philly, my friend, you know?
Yeah.
And you know how bad that crew is down there.
Like, you've been putting in work for a long time. I don't think they're going to come take a slouch, man. Like,
no.
You know?
Listen, you got to remember something. Joey Merlino was in the can with all these Boston wise guys. Don't you? They checked my background, what I was running, what I was doing. They knew everything down there that was going on. Because these guys love to give up information. And when Joey came up, there were several wise guys around us from the Patriarca family all the time. You know, so they loved and respected Joey.
Were they mad that you were starting your own crew up there?
My own crew, oh yeah, they were upset. I mean, you have to remember something. It's pride. The Patriarca family has been up here since 1955. The Black Hand started in Boston. At one point, it was one of the strongest in the country. And now I come along and I upset that apple cart. So, you know, they didn't like it. They really didn't like it that I did that. But the family was in disarray, and I took advantage.
Damian Trites wants to know what rank was Paul Tanzo?
He was a soldier in my crew.
What's up, Damian?
Hi, Damian. Good question.
So when you were after you went to that program, right, and you were locked up with these high-ranking guys, who were some of the names that you were locked up with?
I was with Richie Cantarella from the Bonanno family. Excuse me. Frankie Lino. I love Frankie Lino. He was a capo in the Bonanno family. He's the one that told me about the whole Donnie Brasco movie. Remember in Donnie Brasco, they were cutting the bodies up in the cellar and they killed the 3 captains?
Yeah.
Well, those guys weren't even in there. Sonny Black wasn't even in there. Frankie Lino was in there. Frankie Lino told me when he brought the captains in, he didn't realize that it was a hit. So they thought he thought he was getting killed in there too. So it was a cellar apartment or wherever they were. He jumped out the window onto the sidewalk, rolled over, and started running. So Joe Messina, who was the boss of the family, said, "Where you going?" You know? And he just kept running and running. And he was a soldier at that time. He wasn't a captain.
What, as they started shooting, he ran?
He jumped out a window. Frankie Lino jumped out the window, rolled over, and ran. It's a true story. Frankie told me himself. And this is how much bullshit's in a lot of these movies and a lot of the social media stuff. And Frankie ran away. They call him in. So Joe says to him, "Did you tell anybody what happened?" He said, "No, of course not." He said, "We're going to make you a captain." So after that hit, he got made a captain. Yeah. He tell the truth with everything, Staxx. I don't play. You know, my whole life is documented. You can read about me everywhere.
Yeah.
You know, well, you can't refute what I say. It's like anything else. All they do is Google me.
People are gonna come at you regardless of what you say, what you do. There's gonna always be haters, you know.
The best thing to do is not pay attention, Paul. You can't pay attention. You know, they talked about me on a show the other night. Someone called me and told me.
Yeah, they're talking about me on shows left and right, man. My name stays in their mouth, man. You know, so
yeah. Well, I don't know.
More power to them.
Maybe it's a good thing. I don't know. I have nothing against many of the guys, and they really promotion. You know, I watched Mob Rat Exposed. They talk. A kid got on there from Revere, trying to badmouth me. I probably slept with his girl or something. So years ago, probably don't like me. With that same nonsense, we're buying the button and everything, and they just try to discredit you. You know, because I still have enemies up there. You know that. You know, a lot of people were soured when I left.
Was there a lot of jealousy on your rise up?
Oh yeah, of course there was. Of course there was. You know, I mean, that's always going to happen. Someone else always wants your position. Don't want you in that position for their own selfish reasons, and that's what you have to deal with every day.